This guy, he is a legend of the game. He is the 2008 national champion. In that same season, he made top 4 of Worlds, and we're getting to capture him here. I mean, a lot of people hate Gino, a lot of people love him, but you can't question his results, and here he is with another top 4 at a big tournament.
Gino Lombardi is a very unique person.
He's a little bit like the old Jersey Shore, New Jersey Jim Bro, right? That's essentially the vibe that I got off him.
Once he had some success, he became a very larger-than-life figure, somewhat boisterous. I think it was after he won nationals, I think he put out a rap song. So I don't know, did you know about that one?
I would say Gino was capable of beating anyone because he always had the confidence and mentality that he could.
He was just a big kid. No matter what we did together or what he would do, we always had such a good time, and he was such a good guy to be around and so much fun to be around.
Gino is like an anomaly. He wanted to be like the bad guy in the Pokemon TCG for sure, and he kind of was. And eventually, he ended up being banned from the game. Allegedly, like he would cheat. I'm not sure. I've never seen it.
He sold that map book, like he did, and he cheated, probably frequently.
There's a lot of like alleged stuff going around Gino, and that's kind of like part of the thing when you want to be the bad boy of the game is like people like say stuff about you, so, like negative things.
I remember he started dating this girl, very, very beautiful girl, and you could tell like they were crazy in love with each other. All over Facebook, they were posting pictures back and forth, and it was just one of those like kind of whirlwind romances that, you know, everybody needs to have in their life at least once. But there was a time where he showed us, and he had gotten Brittany tattooed right across his forearm. And it was just in huge letters, and there were stars all around it. And unfortunately, they ended up breaking up maybe 6 months to a year later. He ended up getting it covered up, but that was just something that I feel like just describes Gino, is that he'll always lead with his heart. He'll make those impulsive decisions, and just whatever feels right to him in the moment, he'll go with.
I'm sorry, Gino, I had to do it one time, man. Hey, check this out, man. Listen. I flip a coin, I cut the deck. I got a guard hand, it's a rap, cut the check. Flip the top deck in my bench set. And I'm looking, he even got a bench set. So what's the play? I'm attaching to my active, and you know that I'm attacking. I'm taking prizes after every knockout. He takes no prizes, all he gets is knocked out. I play to win, I shake his hand. Then I check the pairings and I play again. I flip again, got hand again. Flip the starter over, and they like, not again. I'm like, yes again, once again. I'm gonna win, man, no stopping him. I went bold for the win, I'm a classic. And I'm underground, you can't stand it, yeah.
When we're sitting here today, there is a large history for the Pokemon TCG. You've got 20 plus years of world championships, you've got numerous regional winners and international winners, national winners. Back in the day, it was a little bit different. So like in kind of the early days of the game, you only had a couple of people that had won a world championships, a couple of people that had won a national championships, a few regional winners. So having those accomplishments were pretty big. You started to get well known within the community, and that's when I first met Gino, was in 2007. He had some very early success when he started playing. The first time I heard his name was in 2006. And what he did that year was he knocked Yamato out of the grinder on his way to grinding into the World Championships. So Yamato was at the time considered the best player in the game. He won Worlds in 2004. He made top 8 in 2005, and he was considered almost unbeatable. So in 2006, Gino came up with this really unique Machamp deck that he took to the last chance qualifier to try to get into Worlds. And him and Yamato played on the bubble, and Yamato was playing LBS. They were playing for their spot in Worlds, one of the last couple rounds of the tournament, and Gino ends up beating Yamato, which at the time was unthinkable to have this American player knock out the best player in the world of the tournament. That was kind of the first time I heard Gino's name. In 2007, he won, I believe, 2 regionals, which was another thing that was nearly unheard of at that time. I ended up meeting him at Worlds in 2007. I was starting to get to be known a little bit, and then Gino was starting to get to be known a little bit, and we ended up meeting and just becoming just good friends. In 2007, I believe there was only 14 of us that got invited to play the World Championships from North America. So that was Canada, US, and Mexico. To be a part of that group is always something that's very special to me, but I think that more than that speaks very highly to Gino's playing ability to start playing, I believe, in 2000, late 2005, early 2006, but then to come in and be playing as one of the top 14 players in the United States by 2007 just speaks to how quickly he picked the game up. And then on top of that too, he was able to do it with a very unique deck list. And then even with some of his regional wins, he did those with very unique deck lists. That was the one thing that I want people to just remember about him as a player is just how unique his deck building was and how he was able to find success with a lot of that uniqueness.
During all of your time playtesting with Gino, did it ever seem like to you that he was a cheater during that time?
No. All the time I hung out with him, all the time we spent playtesting in the whole hotel room together, and even just hanging out. And that was like the big thing I want to emphasize is like me and Gino, like it wasn't just like a professional thing, like we just hung out and played Pokemon. There was so many stories of he was just a good person and a good friend, and it's not like we would call each other every day and we were super close, but like at the same time too, like there was definitely times in those lives where we were going through life events together, like just life, whether that was, college or breakups or, whatever else. And he was just always like, I just want to say good friend in a lot of situations on things.
What happened at the 2013 World Championships with you and Gino? I think it was your 18th birthday.
Yes, actually, which in Canada doesn't do that much because the drinking age is 19. In the Netherlands, it's actually 18, so would have made for a nice party, but, we still partied, but... No, it was actually after Worlds, so my Worlds experience in that sense didn't get impacted that much by it, but on the final day, basically stored the luggage at the hotel as you do when you leave after a tournament. And when we tried to leave for the airport, essentially we noticed that someone has been through our bags and that some stuff is missing, including the famous MacBook, or well, maybe not so famous anymore, but at that point got very famous. It was kind of a weird situation because like, what do you do, right? At that point, so first we just went to the hotel, like, what happened? Like, I thought you would look after my bags. Like, how could this happen? They were like, yeah, we can call the police. Police actually arrived very quickly. And at that point, they don't really want to do too much about it. They're like, yeah, I mean, this stuff just happens. Like, here's a file number for the police report, so you can report it to your travel insurance and just go home, get it reimbursed. Don't do too much about it. But then I start talking to people like around it, and I don't know how, but Jason Klasinski, I think he had like a gut feeling or something, and he's like, no. We're gonna go to the hotel personnel and we're gonna make him like show us the footage. Like it almost has to be a Pokemon player because it's like the World's Hotel, it's packed, like all the rooms are sold out for just Pokemon players. And he's like, we can probably recognize this person. So it takes like a lot of convincing of the hotel staff, and they're like, okay, we can't give you the footage, but you can come and watch it with us. And we watch it, and yeah, it's Gino, like very, very clearly, like the tattoos, muscular build, the hair, like he's a figure a little bit, like he's easy to spot, distinctive person. And we're like, oh, wow. So we still tried to get the police to do something about it. They're like, well, he's American, we don't know where he is, like, we're still not gonna do anything about it. At that point I was like, I'll just go home, and after that it basically blew up online, because the story gets posted. I even made a Pokegym it was, a post. I think you can still find it. And honestly the goal was not so much to like, do too much about it, like legally or anything, because well, it's international, like it's also in the end just a MacBook. My travel insurance did actually reimburse me in the end, so it was not that bad in the end. But it was more to like pressure him into maybe giving it back. At some point there was like a sort of middleman, which I will not name, that was like, you know what, if you can like just drop the online stuff, you can ship the MacBook back to you and you won't have gotten it from Gino, it just like magically appears. But I think in the end he didn't want to go through with that, so that never happened. My friends actually got some cards stolen as well, which did actually end up getting returned. Not by Gino, but by his friend John. Yeah, he was actually quite remorseful about it and actually sent all of the cards that also went missing. He sold them back with like everything in it. But no, my MacBook never returned.
You said you barely knew Gino before. What motivation would he have had to steal from your bag, or do you think it was just a random theft, or what kind of motivations were at play, if any?
Yeah, what I understood after is that he thought my friend stole cards from him and his friend, which my friends have always denied this. I wasn't there, so I wouldn't know. It seems kind of sus, in my opinion, but that was like the reason to specifically target our bags, I think, and then they just took whatever was valuable, I guess. I don't think he could even use the MacBook, so I never really understood what was his point. I guess it was his pride, just not wanting to truly say that he did it, or the implication of him actually doing it being there. But what surprised me the most was the amount of people that didn't believe the story. They were like, no, this doesn't make sense, and that's not Gino, which I always found, well, I guess you could make that argument, but also way wilder arguments like, oh, I know Gino, he would never do this, like the stuff you still see.
Do you think Gino is a cheater?
Yes, for sure, yes. What, do I have anything to really base that on? No, probably not, just the stories. I think Rahul, actually, I think he got banned for some time in 2013 as well, maybe a little bit before, like at Nationals, and he basically said like, yeah, Gino told me how to cheat, which, I mean, maybe a good way to kind of get under what you did yourself, shift some blame. But on the other hand, I think there were very, very many stories of not only cheating, but also stealing and unsportsmanship behavior in general. But all alleged. I never really personally saw any of it myself.
When I was young, at 17 years old, kind of coming into the game, learning of all these like big figures, big names, and I idolized almost all of them. Like I definitely had like some form of parasocial relationship with people here and there, through mutual friends, through things. I ended up meeting Gino and like some of his friends. And I remember this guy was a smooth talking, like cool guy. And when you're like a kid, you like kind of look up to these guys who are like doing all these kinds of bad stuff and whatever, right? Like you definitely like look up to these people. And so I kind of like, you know, tailed along, was with this crew, and he would like be pulling these fast tricks, showing me how to like palm cards, how to like quick move stuff in his deck, you know, the double nickel, where it was like stacking his deck in a way that was cheating, basically. And it was just like all these cool things. And I like vividly remember we're like walking around the food court at 2013 Nationals, and he just grabbed 2 bottles of water. He swiped them before I even like noticed. He was like, yo, look at this. And I was like, yo, this is cool. Obviously not cool. None of these stuff are cool now, but when I was a kid, I was like, this is sick. Like this guy is like doing all these awesome stuff that was like foreign to me. Like I'd never been on this like side of the world. I was very sheltered growing up. And at 2013 Nationals, you know, I had a pretty good run, 9-0, immediately lost in top cut. But that'll always be marred by the fact that in the last chance for points qualifier, I picked up a deck I'd never played before, Plasma, because it was like the de facto best deck that weekend. Picked up my friend's Plasma deck, got in there, and in a moment of like weakness, in a moment of what I thought, I needed this win, I needed to get this to get my Worlds invite, I tried to palm a card into my hand. Immediately got caught by a judge standing directly behind me. You know, went to go talk to TPCI, you know, sat me down. They said, hey, we appreciate your honesty, and we won't disqualify you. We'll just give you a game loss so we won't get escalated. However, that wasn't the end of things. I got one of those letters from Pokemon. If you are in trouble for Pokemon, they'll give you a letter. Probably these days, it's almost certainly an email. But I got a letter basically being like, hey, we're watching you. Be careful. Don't do anything else. You're a kid. You're young. So it spooked me. Spooked me really, really bad. Didn't know what to do. A couple of prolific figures in the community at this point started reaching out to me, kind of being like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, and to me, it seemed like my idols were reaching out, being friends. So I kind of told them everything with the Gino story, kind of what happened to me. And I definitely deflected some of it onto Gino because I didn't want to take the blame. I'm a kid. Just throw it onto him. This guy's the big bad that already exists. Whatever. At Worlds, I'm still hanging out with their crew a little bit, and the MacBook incident happens. It's now the buzz. Everyone's talking about it. Should Gino be allowed to play? Should he be doing other things? Then this Pokegym thread began. Someone posted, I believe it was my opponent who I did cheat against. They posted saying, Raul did all these things. And so I was sitting here like, what do I do? What do I respond to this? Do I say something? Like, it's eating me alive. I don't know what to do. It's a combination of guilt, a combination of fear. Don't know what to do. A prolific figure in the community at this point reached out to me, basically said, hey, all will be forgiven. This is like the post you have to make. Like, I'll help you write it. Like, you told me your account's in the situation. Can you post this for me? Like, this is what you should post, and I think you'll be fine. Like, the community will forgive you. So I did that. I was scared. I posted it. And at that moment, like, my friendship with Gino, my friendship with his friends had been severed completely. It's kind of weird to think about now, but I was definitely used as a pawn because a couple of the other prolific figures in that Pokegym thread came in with instant responses. Everything was scripted, it felt like. There was definitely a group of people out to get Gino, and not for no reason. Obviously, Gino had done a lot. I was kind of a linchpin in moving it, and now Pokemon had to kind of take action. The MacBook step one, he taught a minor how to cheat, and I'm sure there was other things that they had him on the rap sheet for. But at that point, it kind of like set up the stage for a sting operation on Gino, I feel like. I do feel like partially responsible for everything. And it's just unfortunate that I was young and in a vulnerable spot at that point.
The thing that I want to say is, sitting here and talking as a 35-year-old man looking back on, when I was growing up, and I think that's kind of the biggest thing is during this time we were all growing up. I think I was, 18, 19, 20 at the time. Gino was the same way. We were all figuring out who we were and kind of just figuring life out. I think when we, I think to kind of put it into perspective, during that time frame, Jason Klaczynski was seen as the face of the Pokemon card game. He was the Pokemon Golden Boy, and everybody, and for good reason, Jason was an absolutely fantastic player. He was at the top of his game, and everybody loved Jason. He was honestly a really great guy. There was definitely times or situations where I don't feel like Jason ever used his position in the game to gain an advantage, but there was situations that I witnessed or saw where I feel like Jason got the benefit of the doubt in a judging call or a judging situation that maybe other players wouldn't have gotten. And there was definitely situations where Gino was not seen as the face of the game, even though he was having at the time success very comparable to some of the stuff that Jason was doing. He was maybe not at quite the Jason level, but there was definitely, I don't know if I want to say like a Tor to Zool relationship, where he was definitely at the top of his game, and if they played in the tournament, you don't know how that was going to go. I think as Jason, to use the wrestling terminology, took more of the face role, and it was very clear that Gino was not going to be a face, he embraced that heel role a lot more. And that kind of translated to, some of the interactions and some of the, stuff you'd see in posts online, things like that. Nothing bad, but definitely, definitely was not running any of his online posts through a PR firm. We'll put it like that. There had always been cheating allegations with Gino. And through the entire time, I remember hearing cheating allegations with Gino. But like I said, those years that we were close, and I would say late 2007 through at least 2011, when I heard those cheating allegations, I always brushed them off because Gino and I were so close that I honestly feel like he would say something to me, or he would have talked more openly about it, or as much time as we spent together, I don't think he could have hit it as much during that time. And I never heard a word about it, never talked to me about cheating, never emphasized cheating, never bragged about cheating. I truly believe during those years that we were close that he was playing clean. If people accused Gino of something, it never bothered him. He didn't mind people saying stuff about him or having that, accusation because, he embraced that heel character. I was different. I wanted that clean image. I didn't want anyone to ever think that anything that I did in any of my tournaments, there was anything shady with it. I think that's when Gino and I started growing apart more, and he kind of went his own direction. Like I said, we were friends, we got along, but we definitely weren't as close as we were before.
Short story, just started as Pokédad, right? And I had a daughter that played Nintendo DS at age 5 in the Diamond and Pearl, if that's an era, right? With the the Piplips, and we somehow stumbled into something called what we now know a theme deck, which opened up the world of trading card games. So around the time of Diamond and Pearl, we got involved in the trading card game. We really didn't know much about the trading card game at first. In 2009 Worlds, she went to the LCQ. She was so joyous and happy to be there. Unfortunately, from the time we registered to where she was sitting down, we went to wish her good luck. She was super excited to play Pokemon, and all of a sudden we turned around and she's in massive tears. And there was a girl from Canada that started bullying her and making fun of her deck box and just all kinds of things, and said he probably had never been exposed to something like that. She's kind of a good kid and didn't have this degree of bullying, and she said, I don't want to play, this isn't any fun, I don't want to be a part of this. And we're like, oh my God, like we traveled to San Diego, how do we go from happy, joyous Pokemon to this? And I said, Sid, let's go outside and talk. And we walked outside, and there was Gino Lombardi. And Gino Lombardi was standing by himself and all I knew of Gino at that time is he had just become national champion, okay? And I walked up to Gino, and I had no idea of certain back history of Gino, of how he plays the game or anything about Gino. But I said, hey, Sid, I said, look, there's Gino Lombardi. He's like, I think the national champion. I bet he's had to deal with bullying, and is familiar with bullying. But in that brief exchange, Gino actually just looked down and saw Sydney just bawling crocodile tears. Okay, I'm sorry, Sid, for sharing this if you see this, but he got down on her level, on her knees, and sort of said, hey, Dad, could I have a moment with her? Okay, and I just, not knowing this guy from anybody, seemed to trust him at the time, and I took off, and he sat down and talked to Sid for a while. And when I came back, he got Sid gung-ho again and set to go, okay? And I thought, wow, what a great experience, And that set the stage for a relationship between those two that probably still exists to this day. He's probably still in her court and rooting for her. But over the years, he would go out of his way to just pop in and make sure, A, is she having fun? How's she doing? What deck you playing? Other things. And became, a constructive force for Sydney. That I think a lot of people aren't aware. I think Gino has multiple levels that are out there. But I know Gino from taking care of the kids and trying to be good to them and being a positive force.
Gino was local to some degree. He's a couple hours away, but he always came up to this area, played Pokemon. Obviously, we all knew he was good at the game, stuff like that. I don't really know exactly how I started talking to him. I think as you get better at the game, you just start talking to more and more people, or at least better and better players. This is like 2012, 2013-ish. He stole a bunch of cards from me. He stole money. I think he stole like $300 or some shit. And another mutual friend ended up at Worlds that year. Gino had like a bunch of stuff. He was just like buying and selling and stuff. And that mutual friend ended up stealing from Gino what I was owed and gave it back to me. And then Gino came up and confronted us about it. And they were like, yeah, you owed him this, so now he has it, and then I was like, yeah, you did, this is what you owed me anyways. And then Gino was like, all right, so we're cool now? And I was like, yeah, and then it was just and then we were chill. I don't know, it was kind of funny, it was just like so scumbaggy. Like it was just like such a weird era where it's just like, okay, you stole from me, a mutual friend stole it back, but now we're chill. And like we just both like forget about it and move on.
One thing I've learned about Gino is the fact that if you entrust him with something, it's partly your fault. It's like trusting a kid with the keys to your Ferrari and that kid to go park it correctly. The year that we went to Hawaii, we entrusted Gino with booking flights and doing all these type of things. And we ended up flying all the way to Hawaii and landed on the wrong island. And we were like, where the hell is all the Pokemon players? There's no Pokemon players on this island at all. There's nothing Pokemon related. It's all woods, trees, and it's beautiful because it's Hawaii, but that's it. He figured it out. He booked the right island afterwards. It cost us a bunch of money to get there, but in that time is where we really learned that you just cannot entrust any type of responsibility on Gino.
This is a card from 2006 that was errated, okay? So like when I played this in a deck, like in a tournament, there was people that was like, dude, they read this right here, Brick Smash, and they were like, there was a card called Steelix that was like, LBS was super popular. So they were like, oh, I got weakness to fighting, but it doesn't apply weakness. And they never knew it was errated that weakness applied. So when I used that on them, I would get a one-hit knockout, and they're like calling the judge, and I'm like, dude, like, I got this with me, like, it's been errated, it's not my fault, you don't read the condominium, or however you say it, you know? Compendium, how do you say that?
Compendium, I think.
Compendium, okay, all right.
Your band, let's talk about that. Obviously, you had your 2008 National Championship win. You had your 2008 World's Top 4. And then you end up getting banned in 2013. In your own words, why and how did you end up getting banned? How does a player of your stature, a national champion, end up getting banned? Walk us through that.
To be honest, it's just, how does it get there? I'm trying to think of how to word this the right way. I'm not sure how to answer that. I've always been top cutting and winning events and doing like my best and getting like top cut here, win here, second place here. I guess just the circumstances, it all just kind of led to all these things that happened.
Had you ever cheated in the Pokemon TCG?
No.
No. So when Rahul Reddy claimed that you taught him to cheat.
Okay, so please make this your intro, because I'm about to give you the sauce right now. This is the #1 secret that got all me and my teammates the best ever at the game, okay? When me, Conley, Alex Reza, all these players that played with us, they literally, when we would play our fun games, they would always end up like this. Oh, you wouldn't have beat me because this was prize, or I didn't have that card. So when we would play test, right, we would just, yeah, go ahead, get out your discount pile. Just add it to your hand, draw it, and then I want the worst case scenario against me, practicing against you, so I can prepare for the worst, almost, if you will. And we would do this in just practice games, just at the house, once or twice a game, if we really wanted to like push ourselves and become better. That's like our secret that we did practice-wise. Now Rahul Reddy seen us playing in like a food court somewhere. I didn't know he was gonna do this in a tournament. It was like an inside joke between us. We were just playing along, and he was a bystander.
What would you say about those accusations? I mean, what do you have to say to anybody who would accuse you of being a cheater in the game?
Well, just like I brought out all these tournaments that I've ever competed in, like whether it was 07 Nationals, 2006, I got all the accomplishments that I did, 2008, 2009, 2010, even the year I was banned, 2013, I got 9th place at Worlds. I was always in regional finalists, I went over 10 state championships, I got probably over 20 to 30 cities, you know? I've always been in top cut at big events. I never I never was not top cutting. If I didn't top cut, it was a bad day for me, you know what I mean? If I was cheating somewhere along the lines, early from 2006 all the way to 2013, it would have been like apparent, like it would have came out. They would have found something.
Let's talk about the you and Mies incident a little bit.
Okay.
What happened between you and Mies at the 2013 World Championships?
So basically, his friends, apparently Bristow went out the night before, went to go have drinks with him. And I've hung out with Bristow before. I've never seen him not be able to at least handle himself. But he ends up getting, apparently according to him, blackout, drunk, and he left some of his stuff with Mies. So he calls him up, like, hey, can I come grab my backpack? And Mies says, yeah, come grab your backpack. So we go there, and he goes, I guess, up to his hotel room, and he's not there. So he's calling him. And me, James Good, and some other guy were just driving around. And we're waiting for Bristow. Now we're calling him because it's been like 15, 20 minutes. He's not answering. So I take it upon myself to get out, go see what's happening. I don't even notice him in the lobby. I actually like walk right past him apparently and go up to the hotel room that he said he was at, and it's already checked out. And I was like, why would this guy tell him to come to this room if he's already checked out? So then I go to the lobby and he's just tearing up, like crying. And he's just like, these guys robbed me. They took all these stuff out of my bag. It's just crazy, like how it happened. Cause like, I'm just like looking at him and there's like 3 suitcases, they're opened and he's like going through, he's like, they had all his stuff, I guess, in his bag in different binders and bags. During the circumstance, I'm like, well, where is he? It's been almost 30, 45 minutes at this point. He's like, I don't know, but I'm like, listen, we have to go. We're already late. James Good is driving around with somebody for like 15, 20, 30, almost 45 minutes now. And we're gonna have to go through customs, and if they stop us, we don't know how long that's gonna be. Now the laptop situation, that's where the things get interesting. Okay. So no one ever knew this, but I took his laptop. The reason for it was never to take it. It was collateral, okay? It was supposed to be used to, we want all his stuff back, and then you'll get this back. But he never, ever, ever, like, told the truth of what really happened. And I don't blame him, because his friends did what they did to my friend. And he's looking out for him, I'm looking out for him. And that's that situation. And trust me, to this day, I would love to buy him a brand new one. You know what I'm saying? Brand new laptop, like literally right now. I probably shouldn't even wait for his okay, I should just do it, to be honest, because it's the right thing to do.
We are the North Side, the Skelly Gang. We come to remind you before you die. You better get your life together. Next time you see us, it's too late to cry. We are the North Side, the Skelly Gang. We come to remind you before you die. You better get your life together. Next time you see us, it's too late to cry. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust. You better spin up before you come see us. You better get your life together. Next time you see us.
So basically, my girlfriend we were talking, I went to the Apple store. I was gonna buy him a brand new MacBook Pro. There was like a 14-inch, a 16-inch, a 13-inch MacBook Air. It was about a little over 1,000 to like 1,600 bucks. I don't remember what size laptop he had. It was Pro, it was Air, any of this. And you know, my girlfriend really convinced me that if you're gonna basically replace something that you took, you have to be able to give up something. It's gotta be symbolic. Otherwise, if you get a bunch of tickets like you're speeding, or you know, if you're running red lights all the time and you just have a bunch of money, you kind of can do what you want. So I felt like the gesture of the laptop that I had giving him, which was almost $4,000, was the perfect gesture, which I basically just bought. And I'm having to give something up so he could have something that he never should have lost. And I don't know if you want to zoom in, but I already even programmed it for him. But I don't know, that's loading.
You got his name right there. I was like going through a weird part of my life like 2 or 3 years ago, and I was just like praying to right certain wrongs that happened in my life. And like sure enough, you just messaged me like out of the blue, randomly for a video you were doing. And I was just like, it was like my prayer was answered. It's crazy, you know? And that's why, like I said in the other room, I wore this. Because like this is a symbolic cross, basically about the scales of justice with this part of the bar going upwards, one to heaven, one to hell, with 2 thieves on the cross with Jesus, and one of them was literally repentant for what he did and all the wrongs he'd done, and the other one wasn't, and one of them was like, remember me, so I can enter your kingdom with you. And Jesus said, okay, you can, but the other one didn't. So I hope this shows that I'm at least repentant for what I did, you know?
How do you think, expectation, how do you think it's gonna go beating up with these after all this
I
time?
hope it doesn't punch me in my face. Just go out and give him a handshake. I hope he doesn't hold a big grudge.
And now I'm chillin' like I'm on the snow. And my brand new man, my swine fur coat. And everywhere I go, they act so surprised. That my jewels are just like
What's up, guy? How tall are you? How tall are you?
6'7".
God damn, you need my basketball team. So, I literally prayed to right this wrong. Literally prayed for this. This guy hits me up out of nowhere just to do an interview. And he asked me, like, that stuff that happened with you and Mies.
Mm-hmm.
He was basically like, would you ever, like, want to make that right? And I was like, absolutely. So I basically told him I had no right to take something that was yours. And I told him I was going to gift you a brand new MacBook Pro.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy.
I also, because we're in New Orleans, I don't know if you have like football where you're from. This is like their football team, and I'm glad you wear a hat.
Wow.
I'm literally wearing the same one right now.
All right.
He's wearing the other one. He's wearing the same one. And now I didn't know he was gonna put decks together for us to play and for you to like whoop my ass. But I mean,
I think you're probably whooping my ass.
really? I don't think I ever played the deck you have, so.
With the decks he picked? Well, we'll see.
It's the one you played though.
Yeah,
from that world.
Yeah, but also the one you played, right?
No, I think he gave me James's one, but it's like similar. We were like a couple cards off, but I mean, you know.
I really appreciate it, man.
No, I got
This is so cool.
the Chargers in there, and
That's
hold on,
crazy.
If you open it up, I programmed it for your name and everything.
Wow.
I just gotta give you the password. Do you want me to do that on camera or off camera?
Yeah,
You delete that?
just put it on camera. I'm just gonna like, I'm gonna change it anyway.
Okay, it's capital M, lowercase e, S, capital B, 777 $sign.
That's it?
And then we're good to go.
Wow, this is crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I'm really sorry for what happened all those years ago, man.
I really appreciate it. That's like super nice.
I got you, man.
Thank you.
Now can we play some Pokemon?
Above every expectation, really. I honestly also didn't really know what to expect, but I definitely did not expect this. It's kind of, to me it's crazy, like just amazing, really. I always thought that like the whole situation of course was shitty, but in the end it also created something that was just very funny, like all the memes over time. And now with this, like it's essentially completely like always a positive experience, which might sound weird, but it's like super cool this way. I love it.
When you interviewed me last time, you asked me questions about like Raul and stuff, and I was like going home and I was like trying to think about like what happened back then. And I remember like he met me in the food court, wanted to play a couple games of Pokemon, and I was playing against him, and I was like, you know, hey, what do you got over there? And then he goes to look at his deck, and I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna take this card and put it over here. And then we're playing the game, he doesn't see me take part from a discard pile, and then later in the game, he's like, wait, you already played one of those. There's only one in your discard pile. This is the second one, where's the other one? I was just like, oh, I distracted you, I pointed over there to your deck, and you looked, and then when you weren't looking, I did this. You know, and clearly though, I was joking, but he didn't take it that way. And he was only a teenager, and you know, it was like, thinking about it was just a fun game, you know what I mean? And he's someone new that I met. When he went in LCQ, he actually did that. So like I can't call him a liar, you know, for what he said, because he's not lying, but he just didn't. I think he just interpreted wrong. Like I didn't intend to teach him how to cheat. I was only joking around. But I noticed in our last interview, I spoke on that a little bit.
Man, I know what it's like to be in my early 20s. Everyone's an idiot. Like, the number of stupid things that even good people have done when they're young. Like, people look at 21 like, oh, you should be an incredibly mature adult at this point. No, you've now been liberated from living at home. You're making all your own decisions, and most of them are bad.
There have been plenty of, like, people who have cheated in the Pokemon card game throughout the years when they were younger, but, like, at a certain point, you know, when people get older, they become more mature, like their moral compass gets more in line with what like you expect from like an adult. So for me, I'm like, if they let him back in the game, it's like I'd be fine with it. But like, it's one of those things where it's like one and done. Like if you get caught again, I'm sorry. Like it is what it is.
So when I was like growing up, I wasn't trying to associate anything with my dad in real life, because like he was always in and out of jail my whole life. He was never in my life. So like when I wanted to be my own man growing up and go my own path, I didn't want to like associate that with my dad. He was always getting like in trouble for like drugs and silly charges of other stuff that I never really looked into. But I mean, I just didn't want to follow that path. Like he was in jail his whole life. I've never been to jail, and I didn't want to. I've always tried to do like the right thing, even though sometimes I haven't. I changed my name when I was 18 to my mom's original maiden last name, which was Lombardi. I didn't live with my mom until I was like 8 or 9. I got taken away from my mom right away. So he went to jail, I got taken from my mom, and then my life growing up looks like I lived with my dad's side of the family, his dad and his mom, Monday through Friday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I lived with my mom's dad and mom. That was my schedule for like 8 to 9 years before my mom, who was always in and out of rehab and always trying to get her life on track, finally got her life on track and got us back. And then her life was immediately back off track. Like, I knew when my mom was using drugs too. I knew when she was using that. I knew the signs, I knew what she would do. I knew how her body language was. And a lot of people don't know why Pokemon meant so much to me. It was because I couldn't have N64 or like PlayStation 1 or Game Boy Color games in the house. My mom would just take it and pawn it. So I would come home and all my video games would be gone and all that. And the one thing that she couldn't sell was Pokemon cards, because she didn't know how to sell them and no pawn shops back then were buying them. Maybe today, maybe some pawn shops would buy some Pokemon cards because it's so big, I don't know. When I was getting good in Pokemon, it was like the best thing ever. I could finally do something. I mean, when I was like 10, I don't know if you've ever seen people on like sports teams, they'll raise money for your team. They'll sell candy and chocolates and stuff. They'll go door to door, and all you have to raise is 40 or 50 bucks. The first sport I ever tried out for was soccer as a defenseman. I was a skinny little kid, made the team, so happy, and unfortunately, I'll never forget my mom selling my little package and then buying drugs with the money. I learned as I got older that's what she did, but she literally was like, yeah, your coach didn't want to tell you in person, so I'm going to tell you, you're not good enough and you didn't make the team. So I couldn't play soccer anymore. Like, my mom's done a lot of crazy stuff to me when I was growing up. So like when I had Pokemon, I had everything. She couldn't mess with it, she couldn't take it away. She didn't even bring me to any events, but the people in the Pokemon community were so nice, they would give me rides to leagues and cities and stuff.
I think after all this time, Gino deserves a second chance. And I think it's such a hard question to answer, because when you deal with cheating in the Pokemon trading card game, and that's such a hot button topic, it's hard because it doesn't just affect that person. If you have somebody cheat and win at regionals, not only are they taking $10,000 from somebody else who should have won $10,000, but that literally affects the entire placements for the entire tournament. There might be somebody who ended up 17th that should have made top 16 and ended up getting money. At the same time too, I think we do need to acknowledge that people do grow and change. And I think, and one of the things that I've seen so much in the Pokemon trading card game is that it's people that are just growing up. A lot of kids will enter this game at, 10 to 14, and then they're going through these, 14 to 24, which is a very transitional time in their life. And they might, do something stupid or say something stupid online or make a stupid comment to somebody at an event. And I never want to brush off anything like that and say hey, that's totally okay. They're just growing up. But I think at the same time too, that it's important as adults that we look at these events and help people grow up and not necessarily say, you did this bad behavior, I never want to see you again, but rather say, you did this bad behavior, we can't have this in our community, and you need to learn and grow from this if you're going to be in our community. And sometimes there's going to be situations where it's we need you to take a time out from our community while you kind of do this reflection and growing. I was 24 at the time. He was probably, 22, 23, around the same age. And I just look at how much I've grown up in the last 10 or 11 years and how much more mature I am as an adult. And I would certainly hope that Gino has made that same growth.
In spring this year, I was inspired to try writing an appeal to Pokemon to be able to participate in events one final time. And this is what I wrote. I want to sincerely apologize for my actions and responses during the events from 2013 to 2015. This includes taking Misa's laptop, looking under my deck, Raul Reddy in the LCQ, creating inappropriate t-shirts at 2014 Nationals about Jason K and Mise, illegally attending Worlds 2015, and lying in my letters to you at TPCI. My anger and pain led me to pursue a personal vendetta, allowing revenge to cloud my judgment and drive me to irrational actions. I have grown significantly over the past 12 years, and I've learned from my mistakes. If given the opportunity to participate in Pokemon events again, I assure you that my past actions will not be repeated. I miss the friends and family I've made through this game, and hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. Sincerely, Gino Lombardi. About 3 weeks later, after I wrote this letter, I got a response from Play, Trust, and Safety. Hello, Gino. Thank you for your patience while we reviewed your appeal. After thoroughly reviewing your appeal, the Rules Compliance Team has decided to lift the suspension on your eligibility to participate in Play Pokemon programs on September 1st, 2025. Please review the Play Pokemon Standards of Conduct and keep in mind, should further infractions occur, it is possible to be removed from the program without chance for appeal. We trust that you have taken the time of your suspension to reflect, and we hope to see you positively rejoin the community moving forward. Please let us know if you have any questions. Sincerely, the Pokemon Company International Support Team. I'm unbanned. Wait, hold on. Hey Siri, how many days until September 1st?
It's 23 days until then.
I'm unbanned in 23 days. When I got banned, I was looking for a void I needed to fill with all different stuff. I tried partying, drugs, girls, gambling, just traveling, you name it, I tried it. And none of the voids ever really got full, like they never did. And I almost managed girls on OnlyFans. I almost started selling drugs, for a career. It was bad. It was I was even buying. I started buying drugs, then I started trading for drugs. Then I at one point selling drugs to get more drugs. And it's crazy too, because I knew what it did to my parents and I didn't even care. I was like, I had a head start to see like, this didn't work out for them. Don't know why I thought it was gonna be any different for me, but I was trying to like numb stuff, numb pain, fill voids. I haven't done drugs, like hardcore drugs, in over like almost 3 years now. I've been off a lot of stuff, and I've taken everything, pretty much almost everything. Like it got so bad in 2020, 2021, I would get drunk. I'm not making this up. I would get drunk and wake up in a different state. And I was like, I'm on an airplane. What the hell is going on? And I'm like, I'm in Florida. I'm in Vegas. And it was just out of control. And it was just like, it sucks, man, when you're depressed and you're battling depression, because when you're depressed, like, I know it sounds terrible, but like, no one wants to be around you. You know, like, it's like you're not fun to be around, it's not a good vibe, and it's like you're battling demons and they don't want to join you, and it's not, and it's like hard too, because like, you know you need help, you gotta get help, but you don't want to get help. And that's why it's kind of crazy in today's world. Everyone's like, it's funny, Philly Regionals, I crashed out. Everyone is crashing out on TikTok, talking to the camera, and it's like, it's just so crazy. It's like we all need to kind of like get our mental state right, you know, and we're all trying to fill a void somehow. And the only thing that's ever worked for me was Jesus. So, I mean, to be honest, that's the one thing that filled every void I ever had. It was just like, you're enough, you know, try to stop sinning, you know. I always used to hear stories. People used to say, oh, ever since I got saved. And I was raised Catholic, and I was always like, I would always like give a little smirk, condescendingly, like, the same story hasn't happened to me yet, until it happens to you. And then you're just like, okay, I'm in control of my life. I need to do the right thing. I gotta right my wrongs. I gotta do whatever. I met you last year, 2024, and I was like, I have the opportunity to right a wrong that happened to me when I was 23. And I jumped on that right away. And I didn't even think this was gonna happen. Like, this is crazy. But like, I prayed for the opportunity to do it, and it happened.